Have you ever been in a conversation with someone and they're sharing their opinion and suddenly your body is reacting before your brain can catch up with you?
Suddenly you find yourself explaining, defending, and correcting, or shutting them down, not because you're a bad person, but because something in your body suddenly feels threatened.
So today we're going to talk about why defensiveness happens, how it affects your connection with others, and what you can do to stay open without you feeling like you're surrendering your power. It might just save your relationship.
So grab a pen and let's begin.
So most people think that defensiveness is harmless. We sort of normalize it. Our debate culture is promoting dominance over someone else. How can you win? How can you out-argue someone? And then it just becomes normalized in our society.
I mean, you just described the family I grew up in. Mm-hmm. I felt like everything was debated or was a competition because whoever had the last point won. Mm-hmm. And you could feel the energy sort of mounting, everyone trying to
have the last say.
Yeah, have the last say.
Everyone wants to have the last say. We're really promoting division, promoting polarization, and our nervous systems are dictating how we connect or how we disconnect from people. Because when we feel threatened, we're letting that take over the conversation and the connection. And so it moves from a position of taking care of us to, oh, I'm just going to take care of me.
Right. Right, because then rather than creating a relationship where we value understanding, we actually demonstrate we value competition. Mm-hmm. Right. And we create a barrier between us.
Yeah, now you and I are on opposite teams now. John and Julie Gottman of the Gottman Institute talk about defensiveness as one of the four horsemen and that it erodes relationships, and it's one of the yellow flags, so to speak, that indicates whether a couple is headed towards breaking up or divorce. And so this isn't a small matter. No. You know, when we think, oh, I'm just being defensive and it may not have a lot of impact, it actually has a really big impact.
And for something that actually is so commonplace, I mean, we all get defensive. To what degree, obviously it varies, but it actually has a big impact. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why we're talking about it today, that it's no insignificant thing, defensiveness.
It seems everyone is defensive all the time these days.
Well, because defensiveness comes from that feeling of being evaluated and judged and wronged, mm-hmm. Because that puts you outside the group, outside the safe zone. And so we can have a real threat response mm-hmm. To when the finger's being pointed at us in some accusational way. And so, and when we're defensive, like any defense mechanism, it's in essence a wall that we're building. When mm-hmm. I'm defending myself, I am putting up an energy field around me to say, hey, I'm protecting myself, keep out, mm-hmm. which means we can't by definition then be connected and me be defensive at the same time. A wall is a wall.
So if feeling wrong was threatening in your childhood home, then your nervous system has been trained to not feel that you're wrong as an adult. And so that will be the shield that you carry with you into your connections with others.
That shield will keep you from being connected with others. And ultimately, it kills growth. Growth in the relationship and growth within your own self. Mm-hmm. Because you're defending for a point of view, you're defending for sameness, and you are keeping yourself from hearing and taking in the influence of other people.
If when someone else shares their opinion and that causes you to be defensive and you don't want to hear that opinion, we think that that opinion is wrong and we don't want to hear it, but it also prevents us from hearing and understanding their point of view. We're not open to a new perspective. And so if I'm not listening to you and shutting you down, there's a 0% chance that, you know, you're going to take me in because we're just promoting negation. I'm going to shut you down. Of course, well, then you're going to shut me down. So we're not getting the listening. We're not getting the understanding that we desperately want from each other. And then each of us sits in our camp of limited knowledge.
Yes.
This is my point of view, and I need you to convert to my point of view, my way of thinking, how I see the world, because your way is threatening and different and not normal in my eyes.
And if it becomes really difficult for me to be seen or to have my point of view understood and taken in, it becomes exhausting. And I give it up because I don't want to fight, not because I'm in agreement. Then I shrink.
Yeah, and then we have this idea that maybe we're promoting peace, but actually it's just silence. And then you're moving to silence, not saying, and then certainly I'm not going to say, my opinion to you because you're going to shut it down. So then we just move to separate lanes here.
Separate camps.
Separate camps, separate lanes, separate lives.
Yeah. In essence, we're building an arena or an environment of low-grade warfare, bickering, competition, and that is the opposite of love.
And it just makes the whole foundation of our relationship, the ground, really uneven, unstable.
Yeah.
We don't know when it's going to finally just fall away underneath of us. And so defensiveness really erodes trust.
You think about it, when I think of those soldiers, and with all the armor on them, like back in the gladiator days, and you're like, that looks really heavy. And in essence, when we have to energetically carry that around all the time in our relationships,
it makes it hard to move and pivot because we can't. We move sluggishly.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy energy, heavy thought patterns. Yeah. So let's talk about the antidote to defensiveness.
When I think of defensiveness, right, when I get defensive, it's like everything goes up, and I always think, okay, well, my shoulder's up, they block my ears, I can't hear. So the answer then to defensiveness is listening. Because to listen, my shoulders have to come down, my walls have to come down, and I then am in a place to invite you in.
So instead of it wanting to move to speaking and justify why I said or acted the way I did, the speaking role, I move to the listening role, which is tell me about the impact that I had on you.
Help me understand what's happening for you. It's about asking a question, not telling, but actually inviting information into you. And it's great because you feel, when you invite the question, you empower yourself to be in charge and realize, oh, okay, I'm not being threatened. I'm safe here. Tell me more information. Help me understand what's going on for you.
That's the key, the invitation. Tell me more about that. Because if they're the holder of the key to you calming down, tell me more why you said this, or tell me why you have that opinion. When they share more of the opinion, and you say, I get what I see what you're getting at now. I see why you've said that. I understand your position. It's sort of like, when I'm defensive with you, when I hear more for your story, then I'm empowered by that because I now have my information plus your information, and now it's a shared pool of information. I see more of the story, the bigger picture. And because of that, then I realize, oh, right, I don't need to be as defensive about that. I can put the shield down.
I love what you said. First, because what you're saying is listening doesn't mean you necessarily agree with me.
Nope.
It just means you understand me. And I love you said that the key to actually putting down your wall of defensiveness actually rests in me. And I love that shared partnership and that co-creation, that by getting the information from me, you actually release yourself from having to be defensive.
Yeah, because then I don't see it as a threat. Like if you really are ungrounded or anxiety is running the show, when I hear more of your side of the story, then I get relief. Oh, right, you're just ungrounded. Oh, okay. There's no need for me to be defensive and attacking. I just know, oh, you're going through something. You're working something through. And then I'm available to help and support you rather than I don't want to hear it anymore.
I also know when I'm defensive because I carry all my competency wounds that I grew up with, and the idea of being incompetent or seen as incompetent felt like such a threat. That also having an inner dialogue within my own self, where I can recognize the feeling within me when I get tight and tense and defensive, that I can take a moment to pause and take a breath. The breath acts as the pattern interrupter. And then in that space that I create, I can slide in a little thought that I can generate from in me that reminds myself, just because I don't know doesn't mean I'm bad, stupid, not safe. I'm allowed to not know. And the way to get out of not knowing is to get into the know
Right.
by asking, soliciting,
Inviting.
and inviting information.
Yeah.
So here's what's important to know about defensiveness. You're not opponents in a relationship, you're teammates.
And teammates do not win by shutting and pushing each other down. You win as a team by building each other up to create something new, something together. So this is equal pain, equal discomfort, and equal joy, and therefore equal responsibility to each other so that we create healthy, long-lasting relationships.
Oh, I love that. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button below. If you know anyone who could use this information, share this with them.
And check out this next video to keep learning more about relational intelligence.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.